Yes, of course, subliminal messages do work. But of course, I know that that answer will not satisfy you. And that's fine. Me too. That answer never used to satisfy me. Right? And I know that you might be looking for scientific proof on the matter. Right? There are people who have done research on subliminal messages with various takes on the results, right? But again, I'm not going to cover on that. I'm going to demonstrate how subliminals actually work. Because in order for us to ask, do subliminals work, we have to understand what we mean by subliminals in the first place. So what are subliminals, right? Subliminals are any message which is below your consciousness, right? Like which is below your regular consciousness, what you're not focusing on. That's why it's sub, which is in the background, but you're not exactly paying attention to that information. Therefore, that becomes subliminal. That's what subliminal messages are. So subliminal messages are not only the YouTube affirmations that are set to a low volume that you listen to over a chill beat or over some instrumental, and then you say, oh, these are subliminals, right? That's not what I'm talking about. So for example, if you're walking on a street or even if you're driving, you are focused on that route that you're taking, that route that you're taking. You're focused on where you're going. You're focused on what you're doing. If you're doing something, even if you're on a computer, you're focused on that. Yet, if you see from the side of your eye, out of your focus, outside of your main focus, because your eyes can see a wide range of things that you're not necessarily viewing. If you are watching this video on YouTube, your eyes are probably glued to the screen, but there's a lot more. Your eyes cannot only see the screen, they can see what's in the background. If there were a lion to appear outside of your focus, running towards you, you'd react, you'd do on impulse what you're supposed to do. You'd make a reflex action to run away from that lion. Meaning, all along, even as you thought that you were only focusing on where you're going, your mind has been processing what's happening outside of your focus, right? That is to say, everything in your life is actually a subliminal. Everything you surround yourself with is a subliminal. That's why they say the friends you have, the 5 friends you have, because that's a living subliminal, right? That's like if you are walking with some people, if you are walking around certain people who do certain habits, you're also subliminally catching what they do. And how do we know this? I know this because if you come from a certain country, the way you might speak English, your English accent, it's the same as people around that country. Yet there's no one who ever set you in a class to focus on deliberately creating that accent. Your mannerisms, the way you do things, you just adopted it from your environment subliminally, right? So that means to say that yes, you might be listening to messages, subliminal or supraliminal, on your couch and relaxing or reclining, or on your bed or relaxing and reclining, and saying that you want to have this opulent life, this rich life. But if other factors in your life, when you get up and you remove those headphones, if your room is a mess, or you're not taking care of yourself, like how you dress, you're not taking care of your yard, and there's certain habits that you have or certain opinions that you say about money when you're not, because the idea of subliminals is anything that is below what you're focusing on is automatically a subliminal, right? So that means that anything that you're doing, what you're saying about money, even when you're not really focused on, because the thing is, you can wake up in the morning and focus on an idea which is law of attraction based or manifestation based, or whether it's based in your religious beliefs, whatever, a positive affirmation type of thing, right? But the bigger subliminal is everything else around you in your environment. And you have to put effort sometimes to put yourself in environments where you can get the right subliminals. So often I have money on my wallpaper, my computer wallpaper, desktop wallpaper, my phone. I've got money because I want to touch money. And when I do make money, I made money, started making a bit more money when I started doing some of these things. Instead of money that I had downloaded off Google, like off Google search images, whatever, I took a picture of the money that I made and I put that as a wallpaper, because that's subliminal proof that I too am capable of making money, which induces me to remember that I can make money. Now, I know why you came to this. You thought this was going to talk about the audio subliminals. Now, the audio subliminals, again, that kind of, unless you're going to play them in the background as you're doing work, or just play affirmations as you're doing something that you're focused on. Because if you're going to listen to something when you're already focused on the idea that it's supposed to be giving you an idea, then it defeats the purpose of it being a subliminal, even if we lowered the volume of those things. However, if you do play it, even knowing that it's a subliminal, but played it on repeat in the background, and you might find some subliminals even on this channel that I've started doing. But I recommend that you play it in the background, maybe as you sleep, or as you do some other work, as you do some other thing where you have to put focus on some other thing, but you're hearing that in the background. That's more effective as a subliminal. There's even, I can't cite to you the particular video because I've done a lot of research on this also beforehand. I've had the same question and concerns that you have about subliminal. Like, do they work? Do they work? And found out that there's been research that they deliberately asked people questions when there was in the background, when there was an image or something of a church, but which was not supposed to be obvious, right? And people could not lie when there was a cross in the background or something in the distance, right? We know why, because classical conditioning, associations, right? Like, so on a subliminal level. And again, this is not only, that's why I'm saying subliminals are not only auditory or audios. They are visual, it can be a smell. There could be like a cologne that rich people often wear, or only rich people can afford. And if you wear that cologne, right, just like pheromones, right? That's a certain type of hormone that a certain type of person has. Different people have different type of pheromones. And you can't smell that really, like, it's fairly pheromones, right? But so they are subliminal, yet they can affect the mind of the other person. So the reason that people buy certain colognes, those colognes are induced with pheromones, so that at an olfactory is the nose, right? They call it olfactory level. That's also subliminal stimuli. Some shops, they can put some fragrances, aromatherapy. There's something called aromatherapy, isn't there? They can put some fragrances. Frequencies are also subliminal. Frequencies in a shop that might make you feel more pleasant, because apparently when you feel more happy, or apparently when you feel a certain way, blah, 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 they know what that does to the sales. Now, I don't want to lie. You can go and research some of the things that I'm saying, right? I'm just giving you amalgamated information. That's the thing with this channel. I'm going to give you amalgamated information for you guys to go chase that information. So, do subliminals work? Do supraliminal messages work? Yes, they work. However, right? If you think that they're just going to work by you listening to some audio, or if you think those are the only subliminals, you might not have any results. But if you realize that even if you do not even click on any of the subliminals, I've got some subliminals on here that I'm going to be putting out, but if you think that your life is going to change from listening to YouTube subliminals when you're in a dirty room and you're not taking care of yourself and you're not putting yourself around places where you can subliminally catch certain habits without knowing that you are catching them, in the same manner like I say that a baby catches how to speak in a certain accent. Kids from South Africa speak different from kids in Nigeria when they speak English. Yet, if a Nigerian kid were to be born in South Africa, they'll speak English the way that a South African kid speaks English. So it means that the reason that they have a different accent is the exposure subliminally to that environment, right? So environment is a subliminal. Your friends, they are subliminal. Your environment is a subliminal. And me, I just like to tell the truth on this channel. If you like what I say, if you like what I do, I'm going to be putting in more messages here. Click the subscribe button and give me a comment.